behest of various banking interests. And so we're living in a Truman Show economy. And what some people believe is that this market rally is to actually make all of us think, oh, wow, could this be the real deal? Is Trump going to fix things? And then they're going to crash the market, or at least crash the currency markets, if not the stock market, so that everybody thinks, oh, no, Trump is so chaotic that the world economy is falling apart.
So chaotic. David Seaman, shout out. You are a phenomenal patriot. I'm so grateful to serve alongside you as far as a member of trying to expose the truth, which shall set us free. David Seaman, other than the Bitcoin and the gold, which I understand everybody's desire to want to switch to something that's more tangible, but it doesn't say in God we trust. And I know man put in God we trust on the currency, but God didn't even write his own autobiography. You know, he spoke to Moses, spoke to various people, and spiritually overwhelmed others to write on his behalf. So it's not even in his handwriting because he had us do it. He's that good. He shouldn't have to write his own book. David Seaman's phenomenal, though. I highly encourage that you check him out and all his Pizzagate research. They are attacking him. They have demonetized his videos, which is ironic because there's still ads being played prior to during his videos, which means YouTube's generating revenue that they're not paying to David Seaman. And he has, for the record, 139,591 subscribers. You should add to those numbers. And his views on average get 40, 50 thousand views. And yet the elite are attacking him. They are freezing his PayPal assets, so that which you and I give him for his research efforts, PayPal is freezing. Clearly somebody is strong-arming them to do that. Because if I'm not mistaken, Tesla founder, name slips me right now, regardless, he, who you know, if I'm not mistaken, founded PayPal. The name slips my mind, but you know, the Tesla founder, that guy. Anyways, he made his wealth from PayPal. And I'm not sure if he sold it and has anything to do with it, but it's just weird that somebody like David Seaman can get attacked for his First Amendment right, which we all have, mind you, those that are American citizens have that right to free speech. It doesn't mean hate speech, it means truthful speech. And this guy, he speaks the truth. David Seaman speaks the truth. Check him out. Highly encourage it. All right, off that soapbox and jump straight into apps. I really want everyone to check out XBMC Kodi. Its former name's XBMC, which is Xbox Media Center, which originally was Xbox Media Player back in 2003, 4 circa time frame. Now they're on Android, they're on iOS, they're on Windows, Linux, they're on virtually everything, and it's free. What's great about it is there's like 10 to 12 years of research and development into this app, so everything has pretty much been thought out. I didn't write any code for it, but I contributed back in the days of forums and whatnot. I was big into karaoke, and so they implemented karaoke support, so that's my claim to fame. And some of the ID3 tagging and whatnot, I was more into music than every other multimedia aspect, but XBMC, now called Kodi, KODI, has implemented just about everything you could possibly think of, and they're still expanding, and yet it's a free app that has 10 years of research and development into this platform, which originally started on the original Xbox, which I can hit the power button and it'll boot up today. And yet my Xbox 360, my second one, both of them, Red Ring of Death. So I still like the original Xboxes. They just power up. Sure, there was a version 1.0 power supply that, had some issues, and that's why the 360 went to an external, sort of block system, which still is subject to the same problems. If it doesn't dissipate heat properly, those boxes have been known to cause fire. Not everybody's, but those that aren't properly ventilated or dusty environments, not well kept, that could have a problem with your system. The other app I'd like to talk about is MX Pro. MX Pro is a phenomenal app because it lets you change the volume by scrolling up and down on the right and changing the brightness up and down on the left. If XBMC added this, if YouTube added this, they would be so much better apps. Now YouTube wants a $5 monthly fee, and it can't even do this for $5. Well, this is a free app, and it does this anyway. If I want to get rid of the ads, I have a great multimedia player. I wouldn't call it a center. I like this because it's just point and shoot. It's so much simpler than Kodi. Kodi's not that difficult, and it's way more organized. But I just love this feature for in the car mode because it's just easier to keep your eyes on the road. Scroll up for volume and brightness over here. This is an episode of Star Trek Continues, which is available on YouTube, which they are on their 7th episode. This is that episode. I can't pronounce his name, but it's that Asian guy from Mythbusters. I'm sorry that I don't know his name, but he plays Sulu. The son of Scotty is played by Scotty's son in real life. I think he's buried here in Redmond, Washington. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me. But I've heard that it was buried here, just like Casey Kasem, all that dispute stuff. I'm not related. But it's just awesome that Scotty's son is played by Scotty. So check out this scene, which for context is prior to the Hillary Clinton-Trump campaign. We have Spock here, who is going to have to consider taking the role as captain of another Enterprise, but he's going up against a female who they've never had a female captain of an Enterprise. So that's the dilemma. It's just like the Trump Clinton, and check out this episode Blair Witch style.
Doctor.
The captain filled me in on the situation. I thought I'd check in and see how you're doing. Is this a bad time?
I was in the midst of deep meditation.
A bad time, then. I apologize for the interruption. We can talk later if you like.
Counselor, I would welcome your advice on this matter. It may not be prudent to provoke the Tellarites at this time.
We both know the Tellarites love to make threats, Mr. Spock. Threats on which they almost never deliver. I don't think that's the issue.
What do you believe the issue is, Doctor?
Acquiring my position on the Enterprise was not easy. There were many who believed a counselor was unnecessary. But having the requisite skills and experience, I never attributed their concern to my being a woman. Yet, I have seen enough of human nature to know that how we learn to evaluate others is a many-layered process. And if bias is present, it is often deep and subconscious.
As one whose appearance has on occasion been perceived as the most significant element of my identity, I concur that humans, indeed all races, are capable of such bias, both intentionally and unintentionally.
I don't know what my future holds, but if I were ever to have a daughter, I would want her to know that any position is within her grasp if she works hard enough to achieve it.
Without question. But Commander Garrett's record has numerous issues which necessitate further scrutiny.
And tell me, Spock, would her record be under the same degree of scrutiny in this situation if she were a man?
I believe it would, Doctor. lives.
No. No, we can't. But we can certainly strive to be clear about our own.
So that Star Trek continues. I highly encourage you to check it out. It's a phenomenal TV show, for lack of a better term, because it's not on TV, it's on YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, I really wish they would just implement those scrolling features for volume and contrast, and maybe back and forth too, because it's a pain when you're watching an hour-long documentary on YouTube to kind of rewind it to the exact second that you want to, rehear what you misheard. And if you can just swipe just to rewind, or swipe the other direction to fast forward, that would be phenomenal. So this is the movie section of Kodi, and you can see it's pretty well organized. It even downloads thumbs and synopsises, and you can cross-reference between actors. You can go to Jim Carrey in the number 23 and just click on that person, and it'll show you every movie in your database with that person. It's a really cool application, program, executable that's just lets you have a little more fun, or not fun, but a little more entertainment out of your life. They even have an add-on section in the videos that have YouTube. So boom, there's add-ons like Vimeo, YouTube, College Humor, Fox, CNN, which is fake news because Trump said so, and they are. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about as far as apps. I better not forget Torque Pro. I know this is getting long, but Torque Pro. Bam. So using a Bluetooth OBD2, this is a dashboard for my car, which if your vehicle is OBD2, you too can have additional readouts, if you will, additional information. And this is the Bluetooth device that you can get on Amazon. I will put the link in the description for the first person that asks for the link, but I'm not going to do it until somebody wants to know. But apparently it works with multiple, and this is totally customizable. Basically, Passat dash, any dash, blue, red, white, this is just the one that closely resembles my dash in my vehicle, and I wanted it to not contrast. So even though orange isn't my favorite color, it is really legible, so I like it. It's kind of like an orange red. But obviously the temperatures haven't reset since I've been out of the vehicle because it's disconnected. But it receives all the information from the ECU and puts it here. Now some GPS information, such as this map, is provided by the GPS, and the compass, of course, in the corner. Now, what's cool about this is it's just so customizable. It allows you to you can have graphs and stuff. I guess it'll do quarter mile time, eighth mile time, 0 to 60, 60 to 0 braking, horsepower, torque readout, and you could do graphs and stuff, which I haven't really set up because not everything is reportable in a graph. But this Torque Pro, it'll clear fault codes if your check engine light comes on and you repair the problem. First of all, it'll tell you what the code is. You can just click web and it'll look it up for you, and you can repair the problem and then clear the code. That's pretty cool. Miles per gallon, how many miles left to the tank, trip cost, if you put the exact amount that a gallon of fuel costs and the amount of fuel that fits in your tank, it can accurately propagate all this information, such as how far your average trips are and how much is left on a tank and miles per gallon and trip costs and a bunch of stuff that I don't even have in here yet, just because I've only had it a couple days and I'm still getting used to it. it works most of the time. I had an issue where it didn't connect on the preview. Like I just drove to the store, it worked fine on the way back. It didn't even connect ever to report my RPMs, and if it didn't do that, then I'm pretty sure the miles per gallon is going to be inaccurate until I get this thing fully understood. But that's Torque Pro. It's a $5 app. There is a light version, which is it's not just as functional. It has less gauges and less readouts, but enough that for free, it's awesome. It does have ads, but that's what you get. That's why I like XBMC, Cody, because it's ad free and it's just got so many years of slow research and development and patience from beta testers and advisors and coders and just through a labor of love that came from that. And I wish YouTube would go down that same road. For $5 period, they could give us a better app. I'm not going to pay $5 a month for YouTube Red. I'll pay $5, and then next year if you make an update that's better than the one I already have, I'll give you another $5. But I'm not going to do monthly fees, YouTube. I'm sorry. I mean, I've been wanting to say this for a while, so it may sound like I'm venting. That's the only way I can get it out. But you're going to have to change up your model, your business plan. We don't have to do things the way that they were done. We don't need monthly subscriptions. Netflix is reasonable because Netflix is reasonable. YouTube, I'm not going to give you what you want unless you give me what I desire, which is more usability, a better graphical user interface. The history is retarded, ridiculous, excuse me for offending those that don't know the definition of retarded, but it means the opposite of advance. When you advance your timing on the motor, it was to have it detonate sooner, if I'm not mistaken, and then retard it meant to have it detonate sooner, and to advance the timing meant to have it detonate later, if I'm not mistaken. It could be backwards, but whatever. That's the premise of advance, and to retard means to slow down or speed up. So when I say something's retarded, I mean it is slower in its thought process. I mean nothing nefarious by that, which is just an extreme way of saying wrong. But really, there's a lot of wrong in the news and media and people doing things to one another. Wrong isn't even a word to use for Pizzagate, because clearly it's wrong. That goes without saying. It's so wrong that people don't even want to investigate it. It's that disgusting. That's why I'd call it nefarious, because there is nothing right about that situation. And the government that is involved. Not every single person, but Dennis Hasker, he was a Speaker of the House, and he was a convicted pedophile, and yet he's part of those that are in charge of decisions that affect children, that affect the country. Soapbox, I know. But I've been fasting all week, just shakes. God has been good. He's hooked me up. I did the same last week, and we beat the Lions. So, if God wants me to keep fasting throughout the playoffs, that means just shakes throughout the week, then He's going to bless us. He's going to bless the 12th man if He wants me to keep fasting. If He doesn't, then He'll do what He's going to do tomorrow. But I anticipate that we could stop the number one offense. I mean, our defense ain't no joke. We don't have Earl Thomas, but we got Cam Chancellor, Bobby Wagner, Deshaun Shedd, Jeremy Lane, Michael Bennett. We just got some good guys that are hungry and have a brotherhood with one another, and that's what we all need to have. So, if you like the video, like it. If you want a link to anything I mentioned, request it. If you can't find it, I'll post it in the details for this particular video. Hope you have a happy new year and a happy Friday the 13th, because it's only unlucky for those that don't believe.